Alright, welcome back to another exciting video on wand turning today from Nemesis Gear Steampunked Out. I am amazed. It seems like a lot of you prefer a short video, and it's really hard to edit 2 hours of footage down into a very short video. But I managed to get this one down to 7.5 minutes, so there's a lot of editing going on, and hopefully you'll like this a little better. Um, I am making a Ravenclaw house color inspired wand. So this one's going to be blue and silver. This again using maple wood for this. Um, Maple I really like really well for doing the colored dyes. So right now I've got this already in the round, and I've started breaking that shaft, the blade of the wand, down to the right size so I can feed that into my chuck jaws. I do refine the shape of the blade later on my belt sander to get a little bit better taper and stuff on there. Just it's kind of awkward to set the video camera up over there, and it only takes 3 or 4 minutes, so not a whole lot of exciting footage there. Um, well, right now I'm just setting up where the base of the wand is going to be and marking out the dimensions that I want to use for that. And then I'm going to roughen the handle. And for these special edition wands, I've got a couple of videos on these already. Um, they're a lot more time consuming than some of the other ones that I do. Especially with dry times and stuff. Um, while there might only be like 2.5 hours of actual work on them, they take a lot longer to produce because there's so many steps where you have to, either you're gluing wood together and letting it dry, or you're waiting for clear coats or dye or oils or stuff like that, oil finishes to dry before you can come back and do the next step. So some days you're literally working on a wand for 10 minutes, and then you can't do anything for 24 hours or another day or two. So, anyways, I've got the handle shape blocked in pretty good. Just kind of starting to get that separated from the pommel now. So I'm just taking that little sprue on the end, and I'll go in and do some sanding on this. And again, this being a special edition, I'm going to be doing some wood burning on the handle. So I'm setting that up first with my friction burn with the wire burn, where I know I'm going to have my different colors. Um, and then I'm going to friction burn some dark areas as well on the handle because, I like the contrast. Hopefully you do too. So we'll sand and get those all cleaned up. And then once that's done, it's just a matter of um, doing some final prep work here on the sanding. And again, for any of the long areas, I try to sand with the grain to make sure I don't have any cross scratching in there. So we'll get that buffed out, and then we lay out our grid work for our lines. And this one I'm doing a double reverse spiral on. So it kind of ends up sort of a basket looking pattern there. So the spirals go two different directions and they crisscross. So I'm getting that laid in, and then we'll go in with the wood burner and we'll burn all those lines in. So I'm using my pyrography tool here, getting that set up. And again, this is one of the more time consuming things. And depending on the wood you're working on, the smoke can be real fun to deal with. But we burn through that pretty quickly thanks to editing. And then I want to go in, and I'm doing a combination of lines and dots both, which is a little bit faster than doing all dots, but the dots, again, they're rather time consuming. So we got a nice little design here set up. Pretty happy with it. So I'm going to go in, and we're going to knock all the char, all the loose char out from in between all the lines that we had. Then we sand that finish down, get rid of all the pencil marks, and get the final sand and buffing kind of a pre-burnish there so that we can put the color on. And again, we're doing the blue dye on this. This is now called it's now called dye. Actually, I have found honestly, good old Phoebing's leather dye works really well. The colors are a lot more vibrant than the alcohol-based wood dyes. Um, just have to really clean off all the excess and buff it out, let it dry well. Um, and you still have to seal the surface when you're done, so that you don't have any bleed off onto the hands. And I left this part in here. I started to edit it out. I actually goofed. My pen slipped out of the groove, and I got paint on there. And I got in a hurry, and it just made it worse because the paint was still wet. And it happens when you get impatient. It's just important to stop and say, okay, we got to fix it after it dries. So the easiest thing to do is to let it dry and then come in with the sander here and sand it off the high spot so that it just left the paint down in the grooves. The downside is that you have to be really careful not to sand too much, because you take the color off and then you literally have to start with the color all over again. You have to color it and then redo the silver. So, but fortunately, it wasn't a really bad mistake. But I make them. Everybody does. So we're going to burnish that out now, and the final look is already coming together there. I'm going to take the tenon off here. This is always the nervous spot, but again, always really satisfying when it just pops off and everything nice and straight. So we'll do a little sanding, and then of course we have to friction burn that to match and clean that up and get that ready to go. And then, yeah, after some dry time, we put our clear coat on. Then we sand it. We put some more clear coat on. And after doing that several times, making sure that the handle is nice and sealed up, then we'll finish the shaft with just wood and with keeping the wood grain and stuff with just oil and wax. And this is the final result. You can see I have a few other ones in the background that I was also working on at the same time. I usually have multiple ones going at the same time. And here is the final pictures that I have for my Etsy site. So I hope you enjoyed this. This was a super quick and heavily edited and sped up video. But if you enjoyed it, definitely click that thumbs up and let me know. If you'd like to see longer ones or even shorter ones, let me know what you're looking for, and I'll see what I can do for you. And make sure and subscribe. Thanks for watching.